How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to talk about something that's, you might say, a little bit off subject or tangential to the subject of Kabbalah and Qliphoth and meditation, pathworking, all of these things. But it can be used as a supplement, and that's why I want to cover it. We're going to talk about storing energy externally or internally and how to process that after you've stored it, or how to tap into it after you've stored it. So one of the first ways to do that very practically is through the use of minerals and crystals. And I know there's a lot of people who are not going to be interested in this, and that is totally fine. This is for the people who are interested in hearing what I have to say about this. So one thing that I've noticed over the last few years of experimenting with storing energy is that there are certain shapes of minerals and crystals that store energy better than others. And we'll get more into the metaphysics of what I mean by storing energy in just a bit. So one of the shapes that I first noticed that was able to hold energy and hold a charge, so to speak, really well was the tetrahedron, the five-sided pyramid. And these are great, don't get me wrong, but in my experience, they're not the best for me. The ones that work better for me is sort of a double tetrahedron, and that is the octahedron, the eight-sided solid. And there's just something about this shape that, for whatever reason, holds on to a charge extremely well, and it holds on to it for longer than the tetrahedrons too. I'm still trying to figure out why that is. Perhaps somebody with some experience in platonic solids or geometry or physics can enlighten me on that. So now that we've discussed the shapes, there's one more thing that I would like to mention that I've noticed, and that's color. So what I've noticed is that the clear, and I should mention specifically fluorite, for whatever reason, it could relate to fluorescence. For whatever reason, fluorite holds. I mean, it takes it like a flame to paper. It just sucks it right up. And the clear ones charge really, really quickly, like almost instantaneously, like filling a cup of water. They just zoop, they fill up and they're charged and I think about them like a battery. Now, these don't hold on to a charge forever, and that's another thing that I'm going to get into. The clear crystals charge very quickly. The darker colored ones, like this purple one, these don't charge as quickly, but they seem to hold a charge for longer. And then there's, in the middle of that I've found, is green ones. The green ones tend to charge relatively quickly and hold a charge for a relatively long amount of time. So purple, clear, and green are the ones that I tend to have around. I've got a handful of them here. I've got many more, but these are the ones that I have now. And what I'll do with these is sometimes I will charge them, and then I will leave them on an altar for a deity. Or I will take the little tiny ones that are like a quarter, and I will charge them, and I will sort of place them in a grid around the house. And you can do this in a way where you can sort of stick them down in there with a string, or maybe inside a container, so that you can pull them back up every couple weeks or every couple months or something like that, however you feel you should do, and then recharge them again. You can also charge them in the sun, you can charge them in the moon, you can charge them underneath a certain celestial alignment. The list goes on and on and on. You can charge them with a certain intention to bring something to you, but specifically what I'm referring to is excess energy, or vril, or chi, or prana, or mana, however you want to call it, that excess energy that we get sometimes, I've found that can be stored inside this particular shape and this particular mineral extremely well for whatever reason. The next thing that I've come across is, and this also is completely metaphysics. It has perhaps no basis in actual science, some would say. To me, it's all science. The next thing that I do is you can actually create let's call it a portal for now, and then I will slowly adapt that term as I go because it'll make more sense if I do it that way. You can create a portal or a rift somewhere, either right here, if you're able to, or you can do it internally in the astral plane, or you can do it etherically. And what I will do is not just sort of like rip a hole. What I will do is I will create a sigil. I have 3 different sigils for 3 different types of energy that I come across very often. One is like an anxious, like excited, nervous energy. One is sort of like a suppressed, like sleepy kind of energy. And then one is sort of like a curious energy that I get. And so I will store these in a sigil within the astral and etheric planes. To me, I marry the astral and etheric when I do this. And so within that world, or even out here, I've tried it like out here before, and it works to some degree, but I get distracted, I think, with all of the physicality surrounding me. But if you have a certain sigil that you've created, or a glyph that's a certain color, you can sort of fire it up in the astral and the etheric plane, and you can store that energy in there if you're able to, if you're capable of doing that. You can store that energy in there and then access it later on. So if you're feeling tired, then you can open up the portal to the more high vibrational energy and you can draw it out of there. Now, is this psychosomatic? Perhaps. But here's the thing. I've been tired so many times, and I've said, okay, wake up. It's time to wake up. And that had absolutely no effect. But when I do this technique, it is effective, and it works. Even if it's just for a little bit, it works. So just wanted to share this with you. I hope some of you find utility in this. Thanks for watching, and have a good rest of the day.